Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to Wrestle Ones. And so, this episode is going to be, it's going to be crazy. Some new stuff. I have a lot of videos coming out, and instead of putting it in one whole big video, I'm going to make 5 separate videos revolving around the different things. I'm going to be talking about the Royal Rumble, giving my predictions, talking about Seth Rollins update. I'm going to be talking about The Rock and talking about Raw's new deal with Netflix. But on this video alone, I'm going to be talking about the whole Vince McMahon thing, and I'm not going to be getting into it. I'm not going to be reading excerpts from like the whole document and everything else. If you guys want to know what was said and what was done, in like detail, you can go ahead and go online and you can find it yourself. But I'm merely just going to give my thoughts on it and just really just go around and talking about it. So with all that said, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys will like it, and hit the like if you like what you hear. But in any case, let's get into it. So, if you haven't heard, been living under a rock, Vince McMahon has been accused. There are allegations put against him for sex trafficking, and it's a document that's been put out from I believe she is a former employee of WWE, where she has stated where she had numerous encounters with Vince McMahon, and he made her do certain things. He had blackmail on her and just forced her to do certain things, not only with him, but with other people, other execs, and at least one other WWE superstar that was currently signed at the time, and he is possibly still currently signed to WWE. And all I can say is that this is very much damaging. If you've heard about it or read the documents of everything that she had to endure during this time of her employment with and while she was having these interactions with Vince McMahon, it's crazy. It's traumatizing. I can only imagine what this woman went through and is going through to today. And my whole thing is that Vince McMahon, after this, is done. Whether or not, and and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he's innocent. But whether or not it comes out that he's innocent, his reputation is just done. It's completely done, and there's no coming back from this. And this is why I say this. For one, it would be one thing if Vince McMahon was an outstanding, boss or whatever, and we didn't hear too much from, him and his career. And then this just came out. And it was like, okay, cool. Well, we haven't got a history. We haven't gotten a pattern or anything like that beforehand. So let's, look at this from an objective type of way. And I don't associate myself with the whole belief of believe all women, because we've went through in the past that, women can lie, and they have lied, and with no persecution, no jail time, no nothing. And so, but I say that to say this. I feel like it's easier for us to believe what she's saying because of the fact of when you look at Vince McMahon, when you've heard the stories of him and certain things that he's pitched as storylines, when you've seen how he acts in storylines back in the day when he was the full Mr. McMahon character with Trish Stratus and other female superstars on air, just in storyline, you can think that he was the head of creative. So all this is going from his mind to the page to in front of this television screen in front of us. So you can kind of believe that this guy is, like that behind the scenes. And it really didn't come much to a head, I guess you could say, until 2022, when the allegations came out of sexual misconduct. Now, that was literally consensual. We got it that it wasn't no thing of like him forcing himself on a woman or whatever. It was just sexual misconduct by him being a person in the status that he was, and that he was paying these women off. Now, don't get me wrong, even though it was consensual, still being in the position that he was and being in the position that they were, working for him and him paying it off, it don't paint him in the best light. But besides that, we got from that it was consensual. It may not have been the most ethical, it may not have been the most moral thing to do, but essentially it was consensual. It was just by him having them sign the NDA and paying them off with the hush money, more than likely doesn't bode well for him as a businessman outside of the financials and deals that he's been doing for the company. So it doesn't pay him in the best light. Nor did him weasel himself back up in the company after, stepping down or whatnot. But this, literally, like that whole thing sheds new light on this, because this is a totally different monster in both ways, literally and figuratively. Because looking at what came out in 2022 and looking at this now, it's like we can believe this. We can believe that this guy has done this because he's done it before. Yeah, it may have been consensual and more in that type of sense, but now we're hearing the disgusting details of everything he put this woman through. Everything that he put her through. It's believable. Like I said, there have been times where women are lying, but this one, it's like we can believe him because there was a pattern that Vince McMahon has been, in this type of predicament before. And it doesn't look good for him. And that's why I look at it and I say that he's done, because even if he's completely innocent, you got to think. Ariel Emanuel, is like literally is the owner of WWE and wanted to keep Vince McMahon around. Didn't want to do the deal without having Vince McMahon attached to it. But now that Vince McMahon is attached to it, not only did he have to deal with the aftermath of what happened with Vince McMahon and the allegations before, but now he has to deal with something worse. And even if, let's say, evidence comes out that she was lying, I'm not saying that she is, but let's just look at that. Even if it was shown that she was lying and the text message was doctored or whatever, and he's completely innocent, and he did have sex with her, but it was completely consensual. Let's just imagine that is the God honest truth. His reputation is soiled just because of the simple fact of how much stuff is going to come out. Yeah, what else do you have in the closet? What else do we have to endure before we just cut bait? Do you have any more, stuff? And then we have to literally depend on the word of Vince McMahon that there's nothing else. And then something else comes out. So it's more in the ball game of how much more can we deal with? We don't know if there's any more, even if he says that there are not. If that's it. We don't know if more can come out. He probably could have killed somebody, had somebody killed. And it could come out. And that's where it boils down to. It's like, by the end of this weekend or early next week, I'm expecting to hear something about Vince McMahon leaving the company. I'm guaranteeing you, they're going to force him to sell his stock, because it's not just as simple as, yeah, you're fired or we're going to get rid of you and all that stuff. He still holds a lot of stock in TKO. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to force him to sell his stock. That's essentially what it's going to be. He's going to have to sell his stock so that they can get him out of the company. Because from last year, Ari Emanuel and they were talking about how they were trying to limit essentially Vince McMahon's authority and everything else when it comes to different things in the company, especially with WWE. That's why he was taken away from creative, and full creative control was given to Triple H. And they were just talking about how essentially how a liability Vince McMahon is. So Vince McMahon, it seemed like they were kind of getting close to inching him out. Slowly but surely. Maybe not within the next year or so, maybe within 2-3 years from now, Vince McMahon, if he hadn't passed away, is going to be inched out of the company. And it's basically for this reason, because we don't know what other skeletons is in Vince McMahon's closet. He's a billionaire. He is a person. He's a businessman. He's going to do anything for the love of money. And essentially, this is that thing that is the final nail in the coffin. There is nothing else that can be done to keep I don't know why I keep about to say Triple H. There is nothing else that can be done to keep Vince McMahon in the company in a high position, or in any position at all. Because right now they have to do damage control. This week alone was a big week for WWE. Is a big week for WWE. We had the Raw deal. We had The Rock being on the board of directors. Seth McMahon. Oh my God, I can't think. Seth Rollins came out and announced what was happening with his future as far as the WWE and not really WWE, but the World Heavyweight Championship. Then tomorrow, as I'm recording this, we have the Royal Rumble and all that stuff, and we're pushing everything along. And then within the middle of this, the literal middle of this, we have to deal with Vince McMahon. And this, besides what came out in 2022, just paints him in just the worst light. Like, if everything, which we are prone to believe, was truthful, that he said the things to her, he did the things to her that he did, he shoved her around to different people or whatnot, he is a monster. This is a guy that you cannot do anything more with. And I had a conversation with my coworker, and I hate to say that I told you so, but I don't like to go, but I told you so. It will have to take something, and there's something in his closet that's going to come out, that's going to take him away from the company, that's going to literally push him away. And if it wasn't that, it was going to be something else. And I knew it was just a matter of time. And here we are today looking at it. Nearly 2 years from the time that we found out that that Vince McMahon had these sexual allegations and all this stuff put against him. And now we're essentially in the same boat, but now the boat is sinking. And Vince McMahon, this is one of those things that no amount of money can take it away, because there's nothing that Vince McMahon, no amount of money that Vince McMahon can put in the company that's going to supplement for the advertisers. Because you got to think, and I believe, because I've seen something, a headline on a YouTube video and all that stuff, that advertisers are starting to take away, pull out of their advertisements on WWE programming. And when that starts happening, he's gone. That's millions of dollars. That's millions of dollars. That's why, what was it? Mountain Dew, Pitch Black. That's why they did the match last year with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Essentially because they gave us a lot of money, so let's give them what they want. That money talks. Money talks. That bullshit walks. And right now, Vince McMahon is bullshit. So he's going to have to walk. He's already. It's not even maybe it's been a day or so. Maybe a little bit, about to be a day, 2, the time that we found out. They're already losing money. And when they start losing money because of a singular person, that's it. I guarantee you, once these advertisements starts pulling out, and there's going to be a lot of people that pull it out. I'm guaranteeing you that Netflix is like, yo, yeah, man, if he's still around, we may have to try to get out of this contract. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they legally could. But nobody, when it comes to money, deals, and all that stuff, wants to be associated with something that is looking as bad as it is. That's why Disney separated themselves from Jonathan Majors. That's why Jonathan Majors' PR and management team backed away from him or whatever. Because of the stuff that he's around. And that's Vince McMahon at this point. Whether that's what I said. Whether or not he's proven to be innocent, they still don't want anything to do with him. Just because it's like, yeah, you were absolved of all that stuff, but what else could come out? Do we want to do it? Are you worth the trouble that we could possibly have to deal with? And with them losing money and all this stuff, it's like money speaks louder than anything else. You start losing money, that's when everything starts to go ahead. And I guarantee you that all these other companies are talking with WWE. And it's not even just the media. I guarantee you that USA, the people at CW, Netflix, and all these other sponsors and everybody else are talking with them. What are you going to do with this? Because these are the people that's doing deals with WWE. So they're going to want to know, like, how are you handling this? Is he going to be fired? Like, what's going to come of this? Because I guarantee you, keeping him on is not an option. Even if Ari Emanuel and everybody else wanted Vince McMahon to stay on, they have no choice. If they're going to lose money in deals because of this one man, he's not worth that trouble. He's not at all. They're going to get rid of him by the end of this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the time I record this, or by the time I edit it and put it out, that they put out some news that, yeah, Vince McMahon is gone. He sold all his stock, or he's about to sell all his stock, and Vince McMahon is out. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm saying, sometime next week, if not at the beginning, by next week, we're going to hear something about him being gone from the company and him selling off his stock. It's crazy. This is a guy who you're surprised, but you're not surprised. You're surprised at how fucking just demented he is in the stuff that he had this poor woman do. And it's just, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine the stuff that he said in the text message, or allegedly said in the text message, the stuff that he allegedly had her do. It's barbaric. It's fucking crazy. And it's like, if he did do those things to her, and he did say those things to her, then he should be put under the jail. That's it. There's nothing more to say about this guy. Is that he is a complete monster. That he should get justice. She should get justice for what was done to her. He should be punished for what he did. And everyone else that was involved. John Laurinaitis was a person that was named. And it seemed like John Laurinaitis, I guarantee you that he is regretting being around Vince. He probably loved it for all those years. Vince McMahon hooking him up with different chicks and all this stuff, paying it off, taking care of him and everything else. But you stand next to a dog for so long that has fleas. Sooner or later, those fleas are going to come on to you. And those fleas have came on to him. So because of what Vince McMahon has got done, or what he's done, John Laurinaitis is getting drugged down with him. And it's fucked up. And then they're talking about a person that was a former UFC champion and WWE champion or whatever that was being, trafficked to or whatnot. And even though I believe it did say Brock Lesnar's name, but I believe it did say his name. But even if it didn't, who else can it be talking about? How many former UFC champion and former WWE champions do we have? We don't have that many. The only other person was Ronda Rousey. And I doubt if it was Ronda Rousey. You could probably look at the timeline. And it's just like, if that's the truth, then Brock Lesnar is screwed too. Brock Lesnar, and from what I understand, is that the plans for him coming out in the Royal Rumble, because he was, I guess, suspected to be scheduled to be in the Royal Rumble, to come out or whatever, maybe have a face-to-face with Gunther or whatever, to set up something for WrestleMania. I'm hearing out what from what I understand, those plans have changed. Just because of this. It's like you can't get that specific and be like, oh, we don't know who you're talking about. Like, no. If you would say a former WWE champion, blah, 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 it's like, you don't say a name. There's a lot of former WWE champions. So you could take your pick. It could have been Randy Orton. It could have been John Cena. Hell, it could have been a Rock. It could have been Stone Cold. It could have been any one of those. Hell, it could have been Jinder Mahal. For all we care. But it was specifically UFC, a former UFC and a former WWE champion. Who else can claim that? Nobody. Besides Brock Lesnar. Even though he may have not been named, which I believe that he was, or his name was said up in there, that Brock Lesnar was the guy that they were talking about in the documents. And Brock Lesnar, from that, is screwed because they're more than likely going to try and find a way to let him go. Or just have him sit out the rest of his contract. And then that's it. Brock Lesnar is done after that. And so this poses the question. How far does this extend? Because it doesn't say anybody like else, really. It says other execs, but we don't know. It doesn't say any names. I don't believe that Triple H was involved in any type of way. Could he have known? We don't know. But with Stephanie McMahon leaving as soon as I keep about to say Triple H, as soon as Vince McMahon came back, that leaves you to wonder, what did she know? Did she know that there is like stuff, but she just didn't know the specifics and she just wanted to get away from it? And then you got to think, if she knew something, her husband probably knew something. And so can you look at that and be like, if he did know, why didn't he say anything? You know, and it goes that far. Like, it didn't say Nick Khan. We don't think that Nick Khan is part of that, but you know, hopefully he isn't. But if he is, it's one of those things that it's like a domino effect. Who else has he infected? If he has coronavirus, who else has he sneezed on? Who else has coronavirus? We don't know just yet. And it's kind of like one of those things, and that's why I go back to, is he worth the trouble? Keeping him around. He's not. He's not worth the money. He's already got paid for that, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of that is going to go to his court fees and legal fees. This is just a mess for WWE. It's a mess for everyone that's involved. Because I guarantee you that this came out, there's more to come. Like, we don't know. He possibly could, like I said, he probably could have killed somebody or had somebody killed. Or hid a murder. Could have covered it up. You know? And it's nuts. It's nuts. So it's like, hopefully it doesn't extend to other places, other people, like Triple H or whatnot. But yeah, man, it's fucked up. There's no other way to put it. It's just fucked up. It really is fucked up. And so tomorrow with the Royal Rumble, we have the media scrum. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't read anything about it, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to have a media scrum. I'm pretty sure that they're going to stray away from that, just because of the fact that unless they tell the media, look, hey, we know all the news has been going out about Vince, but let's keep it strictly Royal Rumble in the future for WrestleMania, whatever. And if anything comes out about Vince McMahon stuff, then we'll address it at a later date. But this is strictly about Royal Rumble and the path to WrestleMania. And keep it that way. But it's like, do you really want to silence the media because that's going to leak out like this? You know, it's just, I feel like at the end of the day, they just don't need to have a media scrum. They need to just can it and just end it off and just be like that. Because right now, it's damage control. Right now, they need to focus on putting on a great show, Brock Lesnar isn't going to be there. They're not going to be like Tony Khan and put somebody that has a sexual allegation against them out there so the crowd can boo them and all that stuff. And it's like you already know that if he comes out, that they're going to boo him the whole time. If he's out there for 20, 30 minutes, they're going to boo the shit out of him. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, with Brock Lesnar, it doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure that they don't want that as part of the show. WWE is very different from AEW. And that's one thing that they do not need, is a person that is attached to something that they kind of don't want to, that they kind of want to like get straight right now, and they don't want to be out there. They don't want it to overshadow the Royal Rumble, which essentially it has, because right now that's what everybody is talking about. No one, I'm pretty sure right now, is talking about the Raw deal. I'm pretty sure no one is talking about The Rock anymore being on the board of directors. I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't speculating and predicting what's happening at the Royal Rumble. Right now, the big news, probably like for the rest of the day, today, tomorrow, and on Sunday, and even Monday, and most probably next week, is going to be what's going to happen with Vince McMahon. It's going to overshadow. So by them, they need to do something. Whatever plans that they had, they need to do something. They need to bring somebody in. They need to do something that's going to take some of the heat off of them and, you know, kind of shine away from the whole Vince McMahon thing, because this is not going to look great on them at all. So it's sad to hear that this has happened to a chick, and whoever else may end up like coming forward. And I know a lot of people in these situations always ask, what took you so long? How come it took you so long to do this? How come like you kept coming back to work? How come after this you didn't? It's just, the thing is like, we can have those questions. I can have those questions too. You know, after this encounter, why would you constantly going back? Did you really need the money like that? I could ask all them questions. Everybody can ask those questions. But the thing is that we aren't in those, we're not in the predicament that she was in. We don't know what we would have done. We can say what we would have done. We can look at any scenario and be like, oh, I'm going to do this. I could do that. Man, if that happened, I'll do that. We never know until we're in those predicaments. So I can't look at a woman and be like, oh, that dude was beating your ass. How come you didn't leave? Oh, that dude was mentally abusive. He didn't appreciate you. How come you didn't leave? We can always ask those situations. We can always speculate like, oh man, she must got something to hide because, you know, but we don't know. Yeah, it looks a little suspicious. Like, oh, you could have left. You could have did this. You could have just said, nah, fuck that. I ain't about to do that. You know, I'll make a minimum wage or whatever and make, you know, do whatever. And like, I don't have to like demean myself, throw away my dignity just for a huge paycheck. But a lot of people don't know the circumstances in that. And from a part of it says that she was blackmailed. After that, there's no going back. Vince McMahon threatened her with blackmail. Vince McMahon is powerful. He has reach. So he probably could have did some shit that could have like ruined her life. You know? And it's like, that's why I sympathize with her. I don't know what was running through her mind. I don't know what was available to her at the time. So I don't want to sit here and ask questions like that, because I never know what was going through her mind at that time. Maybe she was messed up in the mind. Maybe that didn't cross her mind at any point. You know? And so I feel for her. No one should have had to go through what she went through. Except for Vince. Let him go through the same shit that she went through. And John Laurinaitis and whoever else was involved. Whoever didn't give a fuck. Like, he's a filthy piece of shit. All this is proven to be true. Vince McMahon, he needs to be punished for what he did to this poor woman. And anybody else who will come forward or haven't come forward. Because this is yeah. Vince, he's not gonna be there any longer at TKO. Like that's it. It's all said and done. There's no more Vince in WWE. Like, this is the beginning of the year, and it's so crazy how the beginning of 2022, or I'll say midway, Vince McMahon steps down because of allegations. A year later, he finds himself back in WWE after like forcing himself in, at the elbowing his way in. And then here comes this year. Before this month is even over, the first month of this year isn't even over, and we're already having another allegation with Vince McMahon. That should tell you something. So I feel like I said, my prediction. This is my first prediction. Not even gonna be the prediction for the Royal Rumble. My first prediction is that Vince McMahon, if not by this weekend, by early next week or sometime next week, he's going to be out of the company. He's going to sell off his stocks, and that's going to be it. He's not going to have anything else, and he's going to be left to deal with this. Like, it's crazy to look at this. It just shows you that, like, you never know what type of monster a person is until somebody cuts on the light on it. And I think that's all I really have to say about this. I've already went like over 30 minutes. I didn't even want to talk that long about it, but I know I had a lot to say about it. But like I said, if you want to know everything, there's people that didn't read the stuff out that you could probably just listen to this stuff, or you could just go online and read the documents. But it's pretty horrendous what type of guy Vince McMahon is. I can believe that he did this, but I'm just surprised that he did this. So it's only a question of what else isn't put out there. What else is he hiding? Who else is involved as far as being a victim and a person that, did the stuff along with him? And I feel like within the next few weeks, more stuff is going to be coming out. But yeah, Vince McMahon is done. That's it. But that's all I gotta say on that. And if you've made it this far, thank you guys. You are special. You are not a monster like Vince McMahon. And because of that, your special gift is the ability to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not. Hit the notification bell for more videos like this. And I will catch you guys on the next one. So, peace out, stay safe, and burn in hell, you piece of shit, Vince McMahon.